the Grand Princess cruise ship, with about 2,500 passengers and 1,000 crew members. They're quarantined right now. They've been not allowed to come into port. They've been essentially at sea since last week. But this is where they're going to be moving into today. And they're going to be allowed to disembark. The Canadians on board eventually going to spend 14 days in quarantine at CFB Trenton. But let's bring you the very latest from someone who is on board that ship. His name is Mike Zrobin. He and his wife Ruth on board that ship. They're from Burk's Falls, Ontario. February 21st, he set sail, and there he is still on the ship. Mike, it's great to see you with me this morning. Thank you for coming back. I know you spoke to Hannah Thibodeau over the weekend, but we're glad to have you for an update this morning. Hello.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, I'm happy to catch up with you. Number one, first question is always the most important. How is your health? How is Ruth's health? Are you okay?
We are both 100% healthy. We're very fortunate that we're generally healthy to begin with, so it's all good.
Phew, that is really good news, because it's not all good for everybody. We know 19 crew members and 2 passengers have tested positive for coronavirus. Let me just ask, number one, do you have any new information this morning, Mike, about from the people on the ship, from the captain or anybody affiliated with the Grand Princess, as to when you're going to be able to pull into port and when they're going to start disembarking passengers?
The captain gave us an announcement late last night saying that specific time, but we are expected to arrive at some point in Oakland today. And then he informed us that deembarkation will take approximately 2 to 3 days due to some sort of a screening process they're going to have to do.
And we understand, and maybe I don't think there's any new information to contradict that it's the people who are sick and those who are maybe particularly vulnerable who are going to come off the ship first. Is that what you're understanding?
Yes, that is correct. The captain said a few times that the sick will be coming off first, then the Californians, and then some of the other Americans, and then the rest of us will be going off in dribs and drabs over the next 2 to 3 days.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like you're getting off today, but at least the end is in sight. And how does that feel to know that it's imminent?
Oh, it's wonderful. You know, most of the people on board are just anxious to get home and get on with their lives. You know, we feel bad for them. We've got families on board with young children. We've got elderly people on board. So for Ruth and I, it's really quite fine. But some people don't have it as good as we do on board.
No, you were telling Hannah, I was listening in, that you have, thankfully, you're one of the outside cabins, so you have a balcony and you're getting some outside exposure, which is always, I'm sure, appreciated under these circumstances.
Absolutely. 4 days. The ship is doing the absolute best they can. We're getting good meals, regular meals, 24-hour room service. Starting yesterday, they were allowing guests in small groups to go out and get fresh air, but there's still some people that have not seen daylight in 4 days.
Eek. So that's good news. At least they're looking after you as well as they possibly can during these difficult circumstances. I'm wondering, you're getting information from the ship's people. What are you hearing most recently from government officials? Mike, I know, again, going back to that conversation with Hannah, you'd heard from the Canadian government 3 times over the course of a day. Have you had any recent information in terms of how they're going to be handling getting you back to Canada?
No, other than we're going to be obviously going to Trenton on a plane at some point, but I don't have any specifics at this point in time.
Okay. I should tell you, I'll share some news with you at 11:15. The Foreign Affairs Minister, the Health Minister, and some other officials are going to be having a news conference to talk about the plans for how they're going to be helping you. So perhaps we'll get some new information that we'll happily share with you, but maybe the plan to be revealed then. So if you don't have any information, but you do know eventually you're going to be flown home, and you do know eventually you're going into quarantine, CFB Trenton for 14 days. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, we would love to go straight home, but that can't happen, and we understand. You know, this is out of everyone's control. So we're just going to make the best of it. You know, we roll with the punches pretty good, my wife and I. So it's all going to be good. It's because we're healthy. We're just thankful for that, really. You know.
I like the approach and the attitude, rolling with the circumstances as they present. But I have to ask you, I keep thinking about these people, you people on a cruise ship, and no one will let you dock. No one will let you come in. As you're being forced to just stay at sea, were there any moments of concern about how this was all going to end, Mike?
I guess some people were quite upset. Again, we roll with it pretty good. I knew that at some point we would dock and think, the outcome is going to be fine. I really have to commend Captain John Smith. It's kind of a funny name, but that is his name. And he has just done an outstanding job with looking after us, keeping us happy, fed, beverages. I feel so sorry for this man. He's just been incredible.
Well, that's wonderful to keep everyone on board calm as they try to go through this very uncertain kind of immediate future. We also have heard from the company itself, Princess Cruises. I know they're going to reimburse the cost of this cruise 100% and offer you a credit for the future. How far does that go in terms of making this all better?
Well, I certainly was not expecting that. I kind of had assumed they would credit this cruise, but I was absolutely stunned when we received the letter last night offering us another future cruise credit of equal value. So we've cruised with Princess before. They've always looked after us marvelously. We've never had any issues, obviously, like this before. So I give them high marks.
Will you use that future credit and take another cruise?
Well, absolutely. As a matter of fact, my wife and I, coincidentally, are going to be on this same ship going on a Baltic cruise in May of 2021 with Princess. So on the same ship. So it's kind of funny to think of that.
Well, good for you, and hopefully you won't, lightning won't strike twice because you're in the thick of things right now. Listen, Mike, a pleasure to meet you, and thanks for the updated conversation. We'll listen in at 11:15 and find out some detail as to when you might get home. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, we're interested to talk to you. That's Mike Zrobin on board the Grand Princess, coming off the ship sometime in the next couple of days.